Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member Lofgren, for convening this hearing, and our witnesses for your willingness to appear with us here today. Openness is a hallmark of the U.S. research ecosystem. Before my career here in Congress, I was a meteorologist by trade, also one of the people that took the risk to start talking about how climate was impacting the weather some 15 years ago. I only did that because I was the trusted communicator of that science. I only did that because I could trust the science that I was learning from. The purpose of our meeting here today is to protect proprietary technology and scientific discoveries. So I want to continue from what my colleague from Michigan was talking about with Dr. Prabhakar and Dr. Kaiser. How can we continue to accelerate the research with respect to climate while keeping it and keeping the politics out of it, but keeping the science the focal point?
Thank you for that question. It's good to see you again, Representative. I'll point to the National Climate Assessment, the 5th National Climate Assessment that OSTP produced and that the President launched in November of last year, I believe. This is a regular assessment of what is happening with climate change in America. And what that report, this particular report, found was something I think Americans across our country see very directly today, is that the weather is changing, that the many effects of a changing climate in terms of intensified storms, in terms of droughts and wildfires. I'm a Californian and I have dealt with the smoke there many, many times. That is very visible to everyone, and I think understanding that comprehensively and clearly, rolling up that research and making it useful to people so that they can understand what's happening community by community was a lot of the work that we did in that report. We also found that people are taking action across the country, and I found that very heartening, because I think this is a problem that when you're in the middle of a storm, it can feel overwhelming and as if there is no turnaround in the future. But in fact, people are taking action across the country with the work that this Congress has done with the bipartisan infrastructure law, with the Inflation Reduction Act. This administration has moved out with some of the most significant actions on mitigating climate change. And all of that was, we're starting to see that now in the climate assessment. Everything I just described relies on exactly what you said, which is having a solid base of scientific research. So that continues to be a priority, I know, for everyone here.
And NSF has funded a global center, as you know, for international collaboration in climate change research. And to me, working internationally on our processes, on our research, only bolsters the trust in that research itself. And it's related to research security and research integrity. In fact, the UK calls their research security effort trusted research, because if you can build integrity into every step and be transparent about how the research is conducted, you build the trust. And so that's what we're focusing on as well.
I appreciate that. I have just about a minute left. I want to go back to you, Dr. Prabhakar. This committee's Space and Aeronautics Subcommittee, on which I serve as a ranking member, held a hearing just yesterday in this room talking about NASA's plans for decommissioning the International Space Station. The transition will require NASA to go from being the owner and operator of the International Space Station to becoming a customer for one of our commercial space stations. So how might research security policies, practices, and risk postures be different for the federal government, federally funded research, and as we transition, to what extent is OSTP considering commercial partnerships and developing research security guidance to federal agencies?
Thank you for that question. That's a significant transition that NASA is working on, and I appreciate that subcommittee's focus on such an important issue. I think as we've been talking about research security here, it's the focus here has been the research part, but of course protecting our technologies is something that is much broader than just the basic research community. And many of the measures that are in place and the actions that have been taken specifically are about protecting our industrial technological capacity. The space station, though, I think is a great example of a place where the kind of research happens where there are so many opportunities, and we've had so many excellent international collaborations. So I'm sure that will continue to be a major focus for NASA and its work.
And those certainly won't go away. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.